Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Nrsimha Prabhu, for having us here. Thank you all of you for coming for this very wonderful festival today we are going to observe. It is the day of the Snana Yatra of Sri Jagannath Swami. Hari Bol. This is commemorating a very, very ancient festival which we are fortunate to observe right here in our temple. This commemorates the event when, as history goes, there's a great king called Indradyumna, who was the king of what is now called as Ujjain and earlier called as Avantipur or Avanti. And he had set out his dear minister Vidyapati to find out where he can get Sakshat Darshan of Parabrahma. After his search, he came to upon a place called as Utkaldesh. Utkaldesh is the ancient name for Odisha, right? And it's a long story. I'm going very rapidly. The story itself takes about an hour or so to narrate. But he gets the darshan there of the Lord himself in a very transcendentally beautiful form called as Neelamadhav. Because his body is made up of Neelamani. It is made up of precious gems and precious stones. Something which our mortal eyes have not seen. We have seen deities made of what we see as Panchadhatu and like that. But he was made of Neelamadhav. So going back, Vidyapati reports that, my dear king, I have found that the beautiful Lord is there. So he takes his whole kingdom there. He said, we will have a new city set up in Utkaldesh. We will want to settle down there and let go my capital of Utkal. So he sort of retires from here and wants to start a new place there, performs a lot of Ashwamedh Yagyas, invites Brahmaji for the installation ceremony at last. But as the day comes closer, the Neelamadhav deity disappears. Just disappears from his eyesight. And there's a big sandstorm which comes, right? And then there's a voice from the sky which says that I will appear in another form. The story says that the hair of Sri Vishnu who lies in the causal ocean, fell to the ground in the form of transcendental trees, right? Those trees are non-different from him. Therefore, those trees also are called as Parabrahma, right? And it is from those trees which come floating as logs on the ocean. As we know, Jagannath Puri, Utkal is on the bank of the ocean. And then a transcendental carpenter comes and carves these deities, which are then installed as Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maharani. And then when they are installed, this is years ago in Satyuga, the installation day is commemorating the day of Snana Yatra, which also is considered as their like a birthday of Lord Jagannath. So this is, we can say happy birthday to him today if you if you want to. Of course, this is not the official Snana Yatra because we are doing it for the festival of joy. We're doing it in a more of matter of convenience, but Jagannath can be born in our hearts anytime when the devotees desire. So Jagannath is very special personality. Of course, his brother also, Balram and Subhadra Maharani. And the uniqueness of Jagannath, which is a form of Krishna, obviously, we all know that, is that he is very, very, very reciprocal with his devotees. Right? It is easy to develop a relationship with Krishna in the form of Jagannath than any other form of Krishna. Because he takes into a very direct relationship immediately. He will acknowledge you and he will start reciprocating as per your heart. So that makes him a very endearing form of Sri Krishna. Yesterday was a very nice, 6th of April was Ram Navami, and yesterday was Hanuman Jayanti, right? So there's a pastime of Hanuman and Lord Jagannath. So it's just yesterday, so I think we'll start off with nice festival, how Jagannath and Hanumanji have a very, one is Ram Leela, other is Krishna Leela, but still, you know, as I say, they all one. The Lord is transcendentally one. So the ocean one day flooded, and the ocean flooded and it rose up because one day they wanted to touch the feet of the Lord. Generally, oceans don't flood. They flooded, entered the Jagannath Puri temple and goes up, all the 22 steps, and it enters the Garbhagriha of the Lord, where Ratna Singhasan is situated. And along with the ocean comes all the stuff which is there in the ocean, right? It is not necessarily very clean, pure, distilled water, right? And Subhadra Maharani, our ladies are, usually very cleanliness conscious. And said, hey, my dear brother, what is all this, there's all dirt over here. We have messed up the whole, our own house is messed up. You must do something about this. So Balramji says, I don't know who will take care of this, but yeah, and this would happen often. So something had to be done on a long-term basis. So they think of, let's call Hanuman, right? And install him at the entrance of the temple. And if he is there, then that will probably solve the problem. So Hanuman is called by the Lord. Hanuman is stationed. Hanuman is very eager to serve the Lord in whatever way is required. He stands there at a particular place on the bank of the ocean, and seeing Hanuman's powerful presence, Varun Dev is, I don't want to take chances with Hanumanji. So the ocean remains quite subdued. Now here, he is getting prasad. Hanuman is Vayu Putra, and the Agni within Vayu is very strong, right? So he's getting only khichdi to eat every day. Now imagine Hanuman eating only khichdi. Now he has come from Ayodhya. Ayodhya, he is getting, what he is getting, Sita Maya is preparing a lavish prasad of Chappan Bhog and more. Ramchandraji is the king of Ayodhya and he's having a lot of spread there. And after that, suddenly he is put into a diet of, a frugal diet is like, weight reducing diet or almost a starvation diet. So he is starving. He thinks of my good old days in Ayodhya. So many days have passed. And he said, let me just, in the night, just go there, eat the prasad of Satyamai and come back. Right? Nothing will happen. So he just takes a chance. He jumps. He can jump any distance, within no time. He jumps to Ayodhya. They're very happy to see him there. He takes prasad, jumps back and says, everything is fine. Okay, ocean is in place. I'm also here. Nothing has happened. All good. And one leads to the next, and then Hanuman is more often than not seen there, and Varun says, this is my chance. And again, one day, Varun Dev, right? Varun Dev is a devotee, is a pure devotee of the Lord, right? So just like we want to touch the Lord's lotus feet, he's also very eager to do that. And he comes back and floods the temple again. He says, wow, what happened? Where is Hanuman? So Hanuman is called. What happened? Right? So the lordships are angry with Hanuman. Said, you have made a great offense. And for this, we will have to tie you up so that you don't go anywhere now. So the Hanumanji is then tied to a pillar, right? So that is called, that the chains are called as Bedi. Bedi, chain in Hindi and in Sanskrit is called Bedi. So he is called as Bedi Hanuman. And if you go to Jagannath Puri even today, right? Generally we don't go to that area. It's a little far from our main Sri Mandir. But if you ever get time, please go and have darshan. When we went years ago, you paid the pujari some Lakshmi, then he will raise the Lord's cloth, Hanumanji's cloth, and he will show you actually even he has this Bedi on his body right now. But I don't know whether he'll show it or not. But this is the story of Bedi Hanumanji Maharaj ki. Jai. Right. So as I said, Hanuman, the Lord is very reciprocal. There is a story about this is somewhere in Delhi. There is a very wonderful cloth weaver. His name was Parameshti, and he was living in Delhi. He's very nice, sober, devoted to the Lord, and very generous. He had, I believe, 2 sons and 3 daughters. His wife was Bimala Devi. They were living a happy life. And because of his craftsmanship in being able to embroider nice cloth, the king of Delhi, the Sultan, was very happy with his craftsmanship. He said, I'm sending you a beautiful cloth, which is gold embroidered and studded with gems and pearls. I want you to make 2 pillows out of this. Okay? So he's very happy to receive them, and he started making some pillows. And he said, your condition is there should be flower decorations, and we should not see a single stitch. We should not see a single stitch. Do it expertly, and if you do it well, I'll reward you handsomely. Parmeshi is very happy. He takes the cloth home, starts making the pillows. In no time, the pillows are ready, and he starts wondering, these pillows are so beautiful. They are not worthy for a human being. They should go to whom? See, a devotee thinks like this, right? Something beautiful, he doesn't think, yeah, let me have it for myself. He thinks, oh, should be good for my beloved. That is the devotee's mood always, to give the best things to our beloved Lord. The best architecture, best interior decoration, the best dresses, best jewelry, etc. Everything, the best should go to Krishna, because he is the best. He deserves the best. So, he's thinking like this. That is the time when Rath Yatra time is going on. And he goes into a dreamy state. He sits back and starts thinking, the Lord is going to be, the Pahandi Vijay will start, and the Lord will come out from his mandir, from the Garbhagriha, and he will come and climb on his chariot. So what used to happen earlier, what we don't see now, they would have pillows. They would put pillow down, and the Lord would come on the pillow, and then in the next pillow, and they would come like that. So the Lord would sort of not be on the ground directly. There would be a pillow cushioning his movement. And then in his dreamy state, he sees that the pillow on which the Lord lands is just packed. It just burst open, right? The Lord is obviously massively heavy, right? He can be heavier than the universe. So the pillow burst open. And in his state, he says, he's just standing next to Jagannath, and he gives his own pillow to Jagannath, which is made. And then Lord then climbs on his pillow, and he's very happy, right? And then his dreamy state stops, and he opens his eyes, and actually there is only one pillow. Lord Jagannath has actually taken away his. So he was very happy. He's extremely happy. Jagannath has taken my pillow. Success of my life. Like when you use your skills in Krishna's service, there's no greater satisfaction that, oh my Lord, I have this skill which you gave me. This is perfection of my life to offer my skills to your service. And then immediately fear strikes. Fear strikes. If the king comes to know, right? And no sooner the king sends his messenger, send the pillow. So he said, okay, I'm coming. So he goes and king says, where are my two pillows? Only one. Where is the next pillow? Right? Actually, my dear Lord, my dear king, Jagannath has taken it. So he's very honest. He's not going to say, no, something happened, it was lost. He says, he said he is in. So the king says, I mean, he is a Muslim, right? So not necessarily he would know much about the Lord and everything. So he is in Puri and you are in Delhi, right? And how is it that the transaction can take place, right? And so you are lying. So he becomes angry, right? He becomes so angry with him, he loses his head very badly. And he says, you should actually be punished severely for doing this. And he puts him in jail. And he binds him with chains and said, you starve him till he dies for this offense of his. Right? It's very harsh the way he reacts to this whole thing. And our dear Paramesh teacher thinks, oh Jagannath, oh Dinabandhu, oh Jagat Bandhu, oh Bhavgrahi Janardan. He remembers the Lord's names, right? Oh Bhrityanath. He just remembers the Lord's various names, said, now, whatever is your desire, right? And he's there in the night and he goes to sleep. Jagannath is so much caring for his devotees. He is not able to get sleep. My devotee is in a dungeon. So Jagannath appears in the prison in his beautiful four-handed form. He said, why do you worry? I am there. Till I am there, let there be millions of kings. They can do no harm to you. Right? And as soon as he comes, his chains open up. And there is a peculiar deformity in his body. He was a little ugly and he had a hunch. He had a hunchback. Right? The Lord touches his lotus feet on his head. Hunchback goes away. And he gets his beautiful, nice, extremely handsome body. Right? And there the Lord goes where to? Goes to the king. He said, you rascal, you punished my devotees so badly. What do you think of yourself? Everything in this world belongs to me. You understand that? The pillow belongs to me, not to you. Right? And the pillow is not a father's property, he says. It is my property. And if my devotee has given that property or pillow to me, then why should you punish him? Everything is already mine in this world. And the Lord whips him. The Lord starts whipping this king. And the king is like, He thinks it is a vision and he gets up. He sees actually there are red marks of whip mark on his body. And very soon he goes there and he sees, he opens the door and the Bedi is not there. And he has become beautiful. And he's sitting in one place. And what is he doing? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Completely peaceful, free from anxiety and fear. He is just chanting Krishna's holy names. Very happy. And immediately the king bows down to him, takes Parameshwari on his own lap, gives him a garland of flowers, puts a nice turban on his head to acknowledge him as a great personality, takes him out, Haribol, takes him out, and then he brings his royal elephant and makes Parameshwari sit on his royal elephant and announces to the whole kingdom that from today he is my Rajguru. He is the guru of my entire kingdom, and glorifying because he understands that there is a person who is a transcendental, he is a great saint, right, living right in my kingdom as my own tailor, right? So in this way, he sings his glories. So this is the way the Lord is very, very, very reciprocal. And there is another very, very sweet pastime talking about Muslim kings, and not everyone is cruel. There is a very beautiful story of a great devotee of the Lord. His name is Salabeg. So his father's name was Lalabeg. He was a Subedar in the army of Jahangir, Akbar and then Jahangir, right? So they decided that they were really, really worried that after capturing a large part of Hindustan, India, they had not been able to capture Jagannath Puri. Because who was there? The powerful Gajapatis were there. The Gajapatis were very powerful kings. So he said, your role, Lalabeg, is to go and conquer So uh, Lal Beg goes with his huge army, and then as he takes a stop at one place for his, puts on a tent for his elephants and his horses to take rest and everybody else, there's a place, a village called as Danda Mukundapur. Danda Mukundapur. And he just goes for a stroll, and there he sees beautiful girls bathing in the water in the lake. And one of them catches attention very badly. And he starts eyeing her, and he has her brought into his room, and he said, "Today you have to become my queen. Or else the consequences, you know what the consequences will be." So she's a widow. Her name is Lalita. She's a very devoted girl to, and completely devoted to the service of Lord Jagannath. So she knows that she cannot say no, because my life will be in danger. So unwillingly she accepts to become the queen of Lal Beg. But before she accepted, said, because she was extremely beautiful, so he was charmed by her beauty, right? But she made a deal. I will marry you at one condition. You will not attack Jagannath Puri. Very intelligent, extremely intelligent. But he was so enamored by her beauty and so much sort of, infatuated by that. So he said, okay, accepted. If I'm getting you, I'll let go the attack. Anyway, she bears a son. His son's name is Salabeg, right? And Salabeg, like his father, is trained in warfare, and Salabeg fights many wars. In one particular war he is fighting, he is wounded badly. And they bring him to his camp, and they find that he's got bone deep gashes of swords and spears, and he's bleeding terribly. There is no, all the Vaidyas and everybody else comes to save him, but he is about to leave his body. Right? Now Lalita's name has changed. She is now Farida Begum. Her name is changed to Fatima Begum. So all the doctors, Vaidyas tell Fatima Begum, my dear Begum, we tried everything possible, whatever we could do, but looks like everything else, it is a hopeless situation. Now Fatima has his only son, right? And she tells everybody to leave the room, and they are both alone. And then Fatima begins to preach to Lal Beg about his actual birth, which he did not know. He said, you are the son of a Vaishnavi. You are the son of a person who is devoted to Krishna. And she starts preaching of the glories of Krishna and how Krishna is Dinabandhu. Krishna is the savior of his devotees. So, my dear Lal Beg, if you really chant his names, Krishna will save you. Now, this is absolutely not acceptable to Lal Beg, because, they are completely anti all the Hindu gods and Hindus and deities and things like that. So, it's not acceptable at all. So, Mommy, what are you saying, Amma Jan? This is not acceptable to me, right? This cannot be. They are our arch enemies. You're telling me to chant the names of the gods of the enemies. This is not possible. And she quietly said, again she preaches to him the glories of Krishna, who Krishna is and how he was born. And because of her very wonderful, loving, motherly nature, she calms him down. I said, my dear Ammajan, I don't know what you are saying, but I love you. Because I love you, I accept to do what you are saying. What do you want me to do? He said, you simply chant the names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And she takes a vow in front of the Lord in her heart that if in 12 days my son is not saved from disaster, I will take poison and kill myself. Right? So she's sitting next to him and she's chanting constantly. And even Lal Beg, with all the wounds and all the pain, he somehow, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, is chanting that. And as days go by and nothing is happening, and she's losing hope. But finally on the 12th day at midnight, Krishna appears. Krishna appears and dancing in front of Lal Beg, and he puts holy ash on his body and says, your body is healed, right? And he gets up and he finds that everything is gone. His body is transformed miraculously. He's young, healthy, completely normal, right? He runs to his mother, takes obeisance, he says, now my life has changed. I want to go to that place to see the person who has changed my life, saved my life. He said, yes, my dear son, I bless you. You go to Jagannath Puri. So from there, without doing anything, he just rushes to Jagannath Puri, right? But when he goes there, the pandas there, they see that, oh, what is your name? Huh? What? He said, my name is Lal Beg. Lal Beg, right? Sal Beg. Your name is Sal Beg. I said, get out from here. They are a little rude to him and said, this is not a place for you. People are not allowed here and you are all this and that. They shoo him off, right? So he's like sad and morose. So he goes to Vrindavan. And Vrindavan, he's touching, this is somewhere in the early 17th century, this pastime. This story is early 17th century. And so at that time still, Vrindavan is flourishing with a lot of Krishna Bhakti is going on there, which is left behind by the Seth Goswamis of Vrindavan who were there just a few years ago, right? So it is flourishing with Krishna Bhakti. It takes association of these Babas and various great saints and Mahants there, and he becomes completely purified, right? and he says, and he tells one Baba that actually how sad I am. I wanted to go and see Lord Jagannath, but I'm not able to go and see him. He said, you're not seeing Jagannath, but you're not alone in the temple. Oh yeah, because you are from the non-Hindu caste. You know what? You should go when the Rath Yatra is there. When Rath Yatra is there, he comes out. And he comes out, he gives a darshan to everybody. And then you can have his darshan. He said, actually, Salabeg, the Rath Yatra is going on right now. And if you rush, you can see Lord Jagannath. And there, he won't wait for a half a moment now. He just starts running from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri. Running. There's no flights, nothing is there. So he just starts running, right? So he just starts running, and it's a long, I don't know how many kilometers is that, but and it's in one of the songs he mentions how far it is, but I forgot. So he runs, he falls sick, he has to rest somewhere, and his body is sore and is wounded, but there's eagerness to see his Lord. He goes, by the time the Lord has already reached the Gundicha Mandir, and having stayed there for those 9-10 days, and he's on a return journey, the Bahuda pastime is going on, right? And still Salabeg has not been able to reach the promised land of Jagannath Puri, right? And his heart is aching, yearning, he's crying, praying, my dear Lord, please, I'm coming, right? His heart is in such anticipation to see his beloved Lord saved his life. The Buddha starts, right? Buddha starts, but now the time has come. But for some reason, the Lord has already placed on his chariots, but the chariots refuse to move. The chariots refuse to move, and then they summon elephants to come, but the chariot is not moving, right? And it is not mentioned in history, but it seems several days passed. This is something which has never happened. And Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra is going on for millions of years now. Right from the time of our second Manu. Swambhu Manu is the first Manu, second Manu is Swarachisa Manu. From the time of Swarachisa Manu, which is so many years, we were at 7th Manu now, Bevas Manu. From 2nd Manu onwards, the Rath Yatra has started. How many millions of years is that, right? But it's never been that the Lord has not been able to come back. For the first time in history, the Lord is not able to come back, right? Because he is also waiting. There is a deity of Pandurang in Pandharpur, right? Some of you must have gone to the holy place in Maharashtra, where Krishna's deity is standing, hands on his waist, very special mudra. When do we stand like that? When we are waiting. My dear devotees, Krishna is waiting for us. We may not be very eager to go to him, but he is very eager to receive us, right? So he reaches at last with great difficulty, with a lot of sores on his body, tired, exhausted, wounded, not taking bath, not had any food. He happens to reach in a completely famished state to the holy land of Jagannath Puri. And he climbs the Rath, the steps of the Rath with great difficulty, falls to the ground, and he sees his Lord. And he offers beautiful prayers, beautiful prayers, beautiful prayers. And in association with the devotees of Vrindavan, now he himself is composing songs and glorifying the Lord. He becomes a kavi. He offers great prayers. As soon as he comes, and the Rath starts, and the people realize that it is for this devotee, right, that the Lord was waiting. So this way the Lord has been, whether it is this caste or that caste, this creed, whoever he is the Lord of the universe. He is not for Indians or non-Indians or this caste, that. The Lord is there for everyone, right? So such merciful is the Lord. Therefore he is called as Patita Pavan, right? So there is a very beautiful pastime. Why the Lord got that name, Patita Pavan Jagannath.
So one day in a class, the teacher asked the students that, my dear students, can you tell me which is the place in the world which is the epitome of love? So in unison, all the students gave the answer, Taj Mahal. That's the symbol. Shah Jahan made it for his wife, Mumtaz. Everybody said that, but one student put up his hand and he said, Sir, Ram Setu. So he said, teacher asked, why Ram Setu? He's saying, very simple. Because Shah Jahan made Taj Mahal to bury the wife of his, body of his dead wife. But Ram built the Ram Setu to bring his wife back, right? His only wife back. And Shah Jahan had many wives. So, to preserve the dignity of women, he built that bridge. So that's why it is the epitome of love. Secondly, he said, because after the Taj Mahal was built, Shah Jahan cut off the hands of all the sculptors, whoever helped build it, the workers, who helped to build it, because he did not want it to be replicated. But what did Ram do? He rewarded his monkey soldiers. In such a way, he brought everybody back in Pushpak Viman to Ayodhya and he honored them and all. So he was saying, this is love, right? So that is why Ram Setu is the epitome of love. So what affects people's hearts is what? Love, not anything else. And that is why we say that Jagannath is the Lord of love. If you see, there is a big flag which is changed regularly on the dome of Jagannath temple. And that temple, the flag has a symbol of the moon and the sun. It was very, for many years, we didn't know for why they have the moon and the sun. Some emblem is supposed to be there. But when the first time we heard that means Jagannath is the Lord of all the places where the sun and the moon shine. That is why he is known as Jagannath. He is the Lord of the whole universe. And as he said, reciprocates with everybody without discrimination if we call out to him in love and affection. And several pastimes like this, you could go on for days talking about the devotees of Lord Jagannath and their reciprocation. But since we have short time, we will just tell one or two pastimes. So there was this devotee in those days, like he told the pastime of Salabeg. Similarly, in those days in India, there used to be, India was ruled by Mughal kings. But they would for the hands-on management of the ruling, whom did they tell? They had Hindu kings who would be known as Subedars. They were Subedars and they would rule on behalf of the Mughals. So there was this one king whose name was Ramchandra Dev. And he was a Subedar during the time of this Mughal king. And he was ruling on his behalf. So the Mughal king used to collect taxes from all the pilgrims who used to come to the temple, and he used to loot the temple. So this was not acceptable to Ramchandra Dev, because although you had to do what they told because you are under their subjugation, but his heart was not allowing. So one day he just rebelled. He said, I will declare a war and drive these Mughals out of here and protect this. That's what the Gajapatis used to do. So he waged a war. However, unfortunately, he lost the war. Krishna willing, he lost the war, and the Subedar who was there at that time, stationed in this place where he was staying, was in Katak. So the name of the Subedar was Tali Khan. And this Tali Khan, he caught hold of him and brought him to Katak. He had his palace in Khurda, but he brought him to Katak. And then he imprisoned him. And he was torturing him. And after a few days of torturing, he told him that I give you one condition. The only way I will leave you is if you marry my sister Razia. Because he was a very political minded person. He said, if I make a relationship alliance with him, then it will be easier for me to collect money from the pilgrims who come in the Jagannath temple. But Ramchandra Dev was not at all willing to do that, because that meant he would lose his religion. He would lose his dharma and his integrity, of being a Vaishnav. So he was not agreeing. But this Tali Khan never gave up. He kept on telling him that that's the only way you can get out. It's that or nothing else. You just keep rotting over here. So then his sister Razia, one day incognito, she came into the prison where Ramchandra Dev was there, and he told Ramchandra Dev that, my dear sir, please accept this proposal and marry me. And he was surprised that, she's a Muslim by birth, and she's asking. So then she told her story that actually her mother was a Hindu, and by force she had been married to a Muslim, and that's how she was born. But the only goal of us people is what? I am also a devotee of Jagannath, she said. So I also want to protect the temple. The only way to protect the temple is if you marry me. So the king said that, but if I touch you, then I get contaminated. So Razia said, if that's your only concern, then don't worry. Between us, we have an understanding that even though you do not have to touch me. But for the sake of protecting Lord Jagannath and his temple, we have to do. And she told in such a convincing way that somehow or the other, Ramchandra Dev got convinced and he married her. And this news, then he left her and he went to. You have to end that? Okay. What time do you have to end? So then he released him from Katak, and he left him to come to Khurda. But by the time he came to Khurda, the news had reached that he has married a Muslim. So all his other Hindu wives, they left with the children and went away to their parents' house. And the whole all the palace was abandoned, and he was alone. And even the temple people came to know about it, that he is converted. So now we cannot allow him to enter into the temple. In fact, the right of the king is to, before the Rath Yatra, he sweeps the road. They took away that right also from him. Every Ekadashi Tithi, there is a system that one of the pujaris, he climbs up the dome and lights a lamp on the dome up there in the name of the king, praying for Lord Jagannath's protection and mercy to be on the king. So they stopped doing that for him, that he doesn't deserve that. He's become a Muslim. He's become, he's changed his religion. And he was not allowed to enter into the temple. And Ramchandra Dev was feeling so dejected. And he started praying to the Lord that, my dear Lord, I did this only to protect your temple. Everybody is misunderstanding me. But within my heart, I know that you will not misunderstand me. So when the temple would close every night, in the dead of night, every day, he would take his horse, and from Katak he would come riding to Puri. From Khurda he would come riding to Puri and stand at the Simhadwar and pray to the Lord that, my Lord, I know I am fallen, but I did this for you. Give me one chance and let me at least once have darshan of your lotus feet. And he was praying with such earnestness, and daily he started coming, but nothing was happening. Then one day, it became intolerable for Jagannath to remain on the throne when his devotees, who had sacrificed his life, was praying so ardently for him. So the Lord came off the Ratna Simhasan and he walked to the door and he gave darshan to Ramchandra Dev. And Ramchandra Dev was like besides himself, my Lord, you have come, you have reciprocated with my desire, you have come. And he offered all his prayers and, with tears in his eyes. Then the Lord left and he came back to Kurda. But the next morning when the Pandas came and they opened the main gate, what did they see? So many flowers are strewn at the main gate and all the way up to the Ratna Simhasan. And they said, how is this possible? After the Lord is put to rest, we clean the whole temple. It's spick and span. The flowers, how did they come over here? And they were all talking, what happened, how happened. And when they reached the altar, they saw the Lord's dress was also all disheveled. And they said, who the hell did this? Who has entered over here? But then there was no time to discuss because it was time for Mangal Arti. And the devotees had to come and they had to start the day's procedure. But every day they started happening. Every day they would see all these flowers, but they were not able to get an answer why this is happening. So the head priest decided that he will sit on the stairs of the temple and fast until the answer is revealed to him. So he started fasting, and after some time, Lord Jagannath himself appeared to the Pujari and he told him that, my dear Pujari, Ramchandra Dev is a very dear devotee of mine, and it is for my sake, to protect me and the temple, he has accepted this sacrifice of marrying somebody from, out of the caste. So, it is my desire that you install a form of mine at the gate so that he can have my darshan every day without violating the rule of the temple to enter, even though that conversion has taken place. So next day the Pujari, came out and told everybody that this is the Lord's desire. They begged forgiveness from Ramchandra Dev and they made a room on the right side of the main door at the entrance, and they put a deity of Jagannath over there. And because Ramchandra Dev had changed his religion, so apparently he had become Patit, but the Lord is known as Patita Pavan. So they named that form of the Lord Patita Pavan, right? That Lord who is the Lord of the fallen, and he gives darshan to everybody. Everybody cannot enter the temple, but he can enter that darshan you can get. So how Prabhupada knew that Jagannath is Patita Pavan. So if we read Lilamrit, we understand that the first form of the Lord that came to the Western world was who? Jagannath. Through Malti Prabhu, it's a long story, but Jagannath was the first form of the Lord of Krishna, which came all the way to the Western world. And there are several devotees who were like such staunch devotees of Jagannath, whom we cannot not talk about on such auspicious days where Jagannath is involved. And one such devotee was our dear Jayananda Prabhu, right? Shri Radha Kalachan Ji ki jai. And Jayananda Prabhu was the one who built the first cart outside of India. The Lord, why the Pandas are scared that, Westerners should not be, anybody except Hindus should not be having darshan of the Lord, because they feel that the Lord is so Bhakta Vatsal, he will go away. He will go away. And the Lord actually does that. On so many instances he has done that. He told the story of Salabeg and this Ramchandra Dev. There is a story of Dasi Bauri, and hundreds of stories like that are there. So actually the Lord traveled across the oceans and he came to the Western world on the behest of his devotee. That is why we said that Jagannath is the God of love. That story which I told of the student, that is not the Taj Mahal which is the emblem, but Ram Setu is the emblem. Why? Because that is the nature of love. So for Jayanand Prabhu, nobody even, he doesn't even, Jagannath nowhere looks close to the form of God. Big eyes, and even Indians, unless you understand the science behind why Jagannath appears like that, it's difficult to accept him as the Lord. Okay, Krishna looking beautiful with a flute, Lord Ram with a bow and arrow, okay, he can be God, but how can he be God? Made of wood, no proper hands, big eyes, no legs, only body is there. How is he God? But how was it that by Prabhupada's mercy, devotees here had developed that faith that okay, he is God and we have to worship him. And then Prabhupada showed them how the cart is to be made, and Jagannath Prabhu made the first cart by which the first Rath Yatra took place in the Western world, right? At San Francisco, yeah, at San Francisco, this Rath Yatra took place. So, and Jagannath Prabhu's life was so exemplarily devoted to Lord Jagannath. Then when he left his body due to some disease, Prabhupada gave a mandate for posterity that any time there is Rath Yatra, the picture of Jagannath Prabhu should always be on the Rath. Now that is no ordinary honor that could be given to anybody, right? But on the Rath means it's his personal car, it's his Mercedes Benz, you know, and on that the picture of Jagannath Prabhu has to be there. Rath Yatra is incomplete if that is not there, right? And another devotee whom I am very, very lovingly remembering is our dear Mother Ladini. Mother Ladini was a simple lady, simple woman who, like, you know, any other person, worshipping deities and cooking for the deities, but her life was so exemplary, and the highlight of her life was her attachment to her Jagannath. Even today those beautiful deities are there in New Vrindavan at West Virginia, and those deities are so merciful. I mean, if you have darshan of them, you can actually feel Mother Ladini's presence over there. Somehow we were fortunate that we could get her association only for some time, but only few days of her association has left such a mark on our heart of her love and devotion for Jagannath, right? She used to worship Jagannath like her family members. Not like, you know, we think that I have to come to temple, I have to dress the Lord and I have to do. She cared for him. In fact, during, like after Snana Yatra, the Lord transcendentally falls sick. We know that. For 15 days he does not give darshan. So in those 15 days, she was the only person privy to Jagannath Seva. She would prepare medicines for him and some herbal drinks for him and nurse him back to health, some healthy herbal food stuff she would cook for him, and completely. And not only she loved Jagannath, she imbibed that love in whoever she came in touch with. All the children of New Vrindavan, those who were there at that time, Rup Rameshwari Mataji, and I mean, Rup Rameshwari was a girl at that time. Now, just recently, last year, or I believe 1.5 years back, she left her body and her ashes were submerged in the Yamuna by some of our devotees. But these children at that time, she would encourage them that, okay, Jagannath is sick, make him a get well soon card. So all the children would get together, and then she would ask the children that, whom would you like to make a card for, Jagannath, Baladev or Subhadra? So you don't treat them as one, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Jagannath, they are not one. They are different entities. Like, you know, sometimes you say, no, he was Sahadev Nakul. Who is Sahadev and who is Nakul? It sounds homogeneous. Like Love and Kush. Who's Love and who's Kush? Sounds. But here she tried to individually invoke that love in the heart of the devotees, that whom would you like to give a get well soon card? All are sick. All three are sick. So some children would say, I want to make for Baladev. And then she would tell them the stories of Baladev and make a card. And she would make, somebody would say Jagannath, and she would make them do. And you know, she had a unique habit, or whatever you could call it. Maybe habit is not the right word. Every night she slept on the wooden shoe of Balramji. The deities are so big, their shoes were this big, wooden shoes, padukas. So she would every day sleep on the shoes of Balram. And then devotees would ask her that, Mataji, can we also get one shoe when the shoe has to be replaced? So she would tell them, there's a long queue, you are in waiting. Many people want the shoe here. So in that way, she had so much of love for her Jagannath that after some time, the leader of the community asked her to go out and preach. You know, that you go out and preach the glories of the Lord outside. So then, unwillingly, but she left the service of Jagannath and she started preaching. She went out. But when she would be preaching, she would be very happy. But more often than not, Jagannath would come in her dream. And he would tell her that, what is this? You left my service and you have gone out for preaching. I'm missing you, you know. Come back and offer service to me. Make bhoga for me. Jagannath would come in the dream. And then she would leave her preaching and come back over here, and she would start cooking for Jagannath and dressing him and all. And while she was doing that, none other than the form of Balram, Nityanand Prabhu, you know, he would appear in the dream and he would tell that, what is this? You preaching is our mission of my Lord, and you have left that and you are going for cooking. So come back for preaching. So then she would leave the seva of Jagannath and go there. And then after, when she would be there, again Jagannath would appear. And then again Nitya. And then when our spiritual master was narrating this Leela, he told that this is the type of dilemma they are in. Whom to serve, which Lord? And our dilemma is what? To serve Maya or Krishna. We are always getting tug of war between whom to serve, you know, to do or not to do. But imagine the level of a devotee, that the Lord, the faith is not something which we can get by some external acts which we do. Like if I chant several rounds, I am going to get faith. No. Faith is a mercy given to us by the Lord when He is pleased with our chanting. Our chanting is not going to get us the faith, but our chanting will attract the mercy of the Lord, that He will give that faith to us. So we are just so fortunate that, you know, that Lord of the universe, whom we all, what do you say? Lord is inaccessible, right? Is it easy to approach the Lord? But Jagannath becomes so accessible. Even for those who cannot enter the temple, He comes out during Rath Yatra to meet everybody. And easily you can meet Him if you want to do. In fact, so many of the pandas during Rath Yatra, they say, you know, one year we went for Rath Yatra and we saw that the Lord was not getting up on the cart only. And, you know, during the Pahandi, you keep moving the Lord. So some of the devotees said that they are deliberately just moving the Lord like this, you know. You know, why so much hue and cry? Just take Him up and put Him on the Rath. So then they asked a panda, how much time will it take for Jagannath to go up? So the panda laughed and he said, it's his wish. So he said, no, you are deliberately doing this. Saying, no, please don't be in that illusion. We are not taking the Lord up. We are just trying to hold the intoxicated Lord. Because He takes His own time, whatever He wants to do. And today our Dauji Nitai Prabhu was sharing with us that how the pandas over there, they tell that the Rath is weighing tons. You think people can pull the Rath? If you have ever participated in that Rath Yatra, the ISKCON Rath Yatras are quite comfortable. But those Rath Yatras are an experience. You get crushed and mushed and whatever you can talk of. But still lakhs of devotees will go there. Crores of people are there over there. And they will try to hold that one spot on the rope, thinking that they are pulling. But if barely you can touch the rope, that's your success. So where's the question of pulling? You're saying that for pulling, you have to have some position. Your legs have to be apart. You have to have a certain type of grip by which you can pull the Rath. But is anybody actually pulling the Rath? Nobody. Even there are lakhs of people, nobody's pulling the Rath. The Rath only moves by its own desire. And that made sense, you know. That made complete sense. That yeah, it's true. You can't pull the Rath unless it is His own desire to come somewhere and move somewhere. So this is the Lord of the universe whom we are getting the mercy to see. And also, you know, sometimes devotees like us, we don't have faith. So we had one of our friends whose name was Dr. Alva. He's one of our colleagues over there. And when he went to Puri, he was told that after Snan Yatra, Lord gets fever. So he just thought, oh, it's just a way of saying Lord gets fever. Oh, really, you know. So he said that, you mean actually the Lord gets fever? So the Panda said, you want to try? And he just dragged him onto the altar, right? He took him onto the altar and Jagannath is all wrapped up. So after Nitrotsav time when he was brought, he took the hand of Dr. Alva and put it here at Jagannath. And he just took his hand off. It was hot. It was hot. So what's the meaning of that? Does the Lord get fever? Yeah, Lord gets headache, the Lord bleeds. You see in Mahabharat, there is blood coming out of Krishna's body, right? How is it that blood should come out when arrows are being shot at him? While he's riding the chariot, from the opposite Kauravas, people are shooting arrows at him and he's actually bleeding. So how does the blood come? Because he's God. If he wants, blood can come. If he doesn't want, blood will not come, even though arrows come. And that's why he's God. For us, when the arrow comes, blood has to come. If we decide, no, blood, you will not come, there was a nonsense. Because he is the controller. Jagannath is the controller of everything. And we have 2 more minutes? 6:15, right? I'll just end with this last story, how Lord Jagannath is the controller of everything. So during the daytime, humans take darshan of Jagannath. You and me, we can go and take. But after the Lord's darshan is closed, the Lord doesn't sleep. Demigods come to take darshan of the Lord. Nidra Devi comes, and then afterwards when it is closed, the beautiful, everything about Jagannath is so enchanting, and so mystical. Sometimes you feel that, something, it's really mystical. So the demigods come to meet him and they report him daily. They are all, in one sense, like they have to report now, whatever their job description has been given, they have to say that, okay, this is happening, that is not happening, my Lord. So everybody comes to give report. And Garuda is standing on the Garuda Stamba there, waiting that anytime the Lord wants to go, he is like the ready driver. We'll take the Lord wherever. So one time he is waiting over there, Garuda, and all the demigods had come. But the last person to come was Yamraj, because he is the most overworked person in Kali Yuga. So many people go to Yamlok because of the sinful activities that people do, right? So he was like so overworked that day, he didn't get time. So, sometimes if you are late, you like, he just entered huffing, puffing into the temple. And while he was entering, he just saw a sparrow fluttering in the temple. So he stopped for a few seconds and he looked at the sparrow and then he went inside. And who saw him do that? Garuda. Garuda saw that Yamaraj is looking at this sparrow, means Haribol to the sparrow. It's the last day of the sparrow. But Garuda is the big brother. And he felt that my sister, sparrow, is my little sister. So it's my responsibility to protect the sparrow. So while he went inside, Yamaraj went inside to meet Jagannath and report. What did Garuda do? He picked up the sparrow and he said, I will take her so far away from here that when Yamaraj comes out, he will not see her, then what will he do, And Garuda can fly very fast. So he flew from Puri. He went all the way to Mansarovar in the Himalayas. And he found a huge tree there. And in the hollow of the tree, he put that sparrow inside. That now hundreds of trees, thousands of trees are there. How will Yamaraj be able to find, even if he comes here, which tree and where is she? So he just put the sparrow over there. And he came back and he was standing over there before Yamaraj could come out. In the meantime, Yamaraj went inside and Yamaraj is talking to Jagannath and he's saying, my Lord, this is not done. So Jagannath said, what happened, What is not done? He's saying, you make the rules and you only break the rules. You make the rules and you're breaking the rules. So Jagannath he appeared not to understand. He's saying, my Lord, you make the rule that when the particular living entity should die. According to that calculation, this sparrow is supposed to die today at Mansarovar in the Himalayas. But she is right now here at Jagannath Puri, and I'm wondering, she's so small, even if she starts flying now, she will never reach Mansarovar, How is it possible for her to reach Mansarovar? So why do you do that, Lord? Not done. You make rule and you only break the rule. And I'm seeing the sparrow over here. So Jagannath just smiles at him, he doesn't say anything. And somebody just smiles, such a sweet smile. Jagannath smile, what will you do? So Yamaraj just came out. And when he came out, he started looking for the sparrow. And Garuda was standing and, very sarcastically he asked Yamaraj, so what are you looking for? For that sparrow? So Yamaraj said, yes, but I'm worried, that this sparrow is supposed to be at Manasarovar today. And, I just asked the Lord that how is it that she's still here and how will she ever reached there and Garudaji said, "Oh God, I thought I am controller and I can save somebody and I can do this. But who is the controller? Lord Jagannath." So on such auspicious days of Rath Yatra or Snan Yatra, we want to pray to the Lord. What do we want to pray? My Lord, please control my life. That's what the devotee wants, right? Right now our life is controlled by whom? Our mind. The whims of our mind. But we want to pray to Jagannath that, anyways, my Lord, you are the controller of everything. So even though I am misusing my independence, please let my intelligence work in that way that I give the reins of my chariot to you. Please, you control my life in the direction which you feel appropriate, because I do not know what is good for me or bad for me, but you definitely know what is it. So it's a very wonderful occasion. At Snan Yatra, we are very grateful to Narasimha Roop Prabhu for having given us this opportunity to remind ourselves that, how merciful is the Lord, and we can all access His mercy if we can pray with a sincere heart. Thank you. Hare Krishna.